Yo, welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert. Last time we started case 5, we arrived at this church where presumably Arya and the prince were getting married. I guess that hasn't explicitly been said, but that's almost certainly what was happening. We met some people. We met Beatrice, we met Eris, we met Miriam, we met Leife. And then a fucking massacre happened. You died, you died, you died. Those 3 died. And everyone seems to think that Arya did it because that she was affected by mage blight, which is when you use too much magic and you go crazy for a bit. Presumably she just got mind controlled by Eris or something, or like it was an illusion or something. Who knows? But yeah, that's what happened. And now we're talking to the necromancer guy, I think. Yeah. I arrived back at the nave. Nave? I'll just say nave. Meeting with the necromancer they were talking about. I couldn't say... Okay, wait. Where are we right now? The nave. So this is... Okay, yeah, this is the big room. Okay. I couldn't stay still, not after discovering what had happened while I was asleep. Nope. But he only reprimanded me, telling me that... Wait, did I skip something? No, okay. He only reprimanded me, telling me that I wouldn't be any good to anyone if I collapsed from an unseen injury. I couldn't really argue against that. I love how it, like, puts these words in capital letters, even, like, when it's not a hint. It's just, like, we use that word, so we put them in capital letters. I don't even know if that's intentional or not. They may have just, like, Control-F argue and, like, change it to be in capital letters. Who knows? ... The thing seems to be out of the ordinary, except... What? What's wrong with him? If you just let me finish... There appears to be traces of necromancy on you, Mr. Cuthbert. Necromancy? We were healed? It's probably nothing. Did your assistant cast any spells on you? Oh, right. I used mend wounds on him when I found him unconscious. Oh, okay, there you go. I expected as much, but it never hurts to make sure. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. You're quite healthy. Cess breathed a sigh of relief as she went to sit down on one of the benches near the altar. She took a deep breath, allowing the knots on her shoulders to unravel. She sat there for a while, eyes staring into space, waiting for the feeling to pass. It seems like the only thing that hit you is that sleep spell. Consider yourself lucky. She didn't even think to check you before trying to heal you. I'd expect the bodyguard to keep a more level head. I just narrowed my eyes at him and said nothing. But I guess no one is ever prepared for when these things happen. I definitely wasn't. You should be fine to go about your business, but feel free to speak with me again if you experience anything out of the ordinary. Thank you, I'm Lord Lazaric Asclepius, of a house Asclepius. Isn't Asclepius like, a servant in FGO? I think so, right? The young head of House Asclepius, a noble house known for their knowledge and studies in necromancy, he seemed to be friends with Leife Frigga. He was wrapped in a large cloak. Every part of him was covered except his face. At first, I found him to be a bit too blunt and standoffish, but it seemed to come from a place of caring. When he checked my body for injuries, his hand and eyes moved efficiently and not carelessly. He looked like someone who was passionate about his work and nothing else. There are no thanks needed. My apprentice apparently owes you a lot. Your apprentice? Lola Snapgrave, he said he was one of your clients a few months ago. Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Stolen did mention that she introduced you to. Speaking of, I'm finding it difficult to believe that she did this. Mage blight isn't exactly a benign condition. When it takes hold of a mage, it doesn't matter what kind of person they are. Violent behavior is almost always a result of the rage-filled delirium it puts them in. It's unfortunate, but mages have to be held responsible when cases like this happen. Unless someone is favoring her. Tyrion, I fought her. What? Do you remember back when we heard that weird sound? I went outside to see what was going on. I saw her standing over a bunch of unconscious guards. I tried to ask her what was going on, but she didn't say anything. She just attacked me. Did she use spells that the real Arya would know? She was so cold and motionless, it almost looked like she was sleepwalking. That's actually pretty strange. What do you mean? When someone is affected by mage blight, they enter a state of extreme psychosis and rage. Psychotic episodes like that raise the affected mage's paranoia to ridiculous levels. That's why these cases almost always end in violence. But from what Celeste said, she wasn't acting psychotic, she was completely emotionless. You might be onto something, Mr. Cuthbert. If what you're saying is true, there has to be more to this. What are you going to do? At the very least, we need to find out what actually happened. But you saw her, right? No matter what, you need to put me in a holding cell. It needs to be one with an anti-magic field. I think she said that because she thinks he's being mind-controlled. Not because she thinks she was affected by mage blight. What? I'm not in control of my actions. We need to go now. She wanted them to arrest her. Something else was happening here. With who died, this felt far too coincidental to be a simple accident. I wasn't sure where each of the murders occurred, but the Inquisition could tell me more about what happened. Wait, with this, is every head of the Pillar families dead? Except for Lucio, I guess. But all the other 3 are dead, right? You're dead, and William died in the last case. That's pretty big, right? That's a pretty big deal. I wasn't sure where each of the murders occurred, but the Inquisition could tell me more about what happened. There's also Stillwind. If she really was affected by Mage Blight, she would remember what may have caused it. I stood up. There was work to be done. It was about time I ended my sabbatical. I have a badge, by the way. Yes, it's my attorney's runestone. Celeste? Oh, sorry. I was just... Your runestone is very nice, Tyrion. Oh, okay. We'll go talk to her, I guess. Is she still getting interrogated? We arrived at the dungeon to speak with Stillwind, but we didn't see her anywhere. Yeah, we have to come back here later. The Inquisition and Kingsguard might still be processing her. We should come back later. Okay. Prayer room then. We arrived at the prayer room. It was now swarming with knights from the Inquisition. I found myself staring at the chalk outline of where Pierce's body once was. Are you okay? Yeah. Now is not the time for an existential crisis. Stillwind's future counted on us figuring out what happened. The Inquisition believes that Stillwind broke into this room, knocked out Pierce and me, and then killed him. But I remember it clearly. I saw Beatrice before I lost consciousness. There was something else happening here. Or happening her, rather. Celeste also fought Stillwind after Beatrice knocked me out. She could tell me more about how she was acting. Okay, so we can talk to Celeste here, and she's probably going to have different dialogue from when we talk to her in the nave, I guess. Okay. Let's examine first. There are 3 stained glass windows. Where do these lead? Well, in the prayer room. I guess they're just outside. Okay. They look quite nice. Okay, that's it. The lanterns hanging around the room. They're still lit. There's a chalk outline where Pacer's body probably was. It looks like he was sitting against this altar when he died. His bloodstain seems to imply that the fatal wound came from his chest. An autopsy report would really be helpful here. I need to ask the commander for a copy of it the next time I saw him. Oh, what the fuck? There are traces of conjuration magic all over the room. It must have been left by Beatrice's sleep spell. I guess. Okay. And what about this? Oh, right. There's a trace of transmutation here. It's all over the area around his body. Interesting. Did the murderer wound him using a transmutation spell? Okay, we don't get any evidence for that? Okay, that's surprising. Okay. Oh, yeah, I know. You're gonna say something different if I present you my badge here? Okay, no, it's the same. Let's review what happened. Before Beatrice knocked me out, we heard a commotion outside and you went to investigate. Can you tell me more about your fight with Stillwind? What was she like? Well, she wasn't her usual self. It's like she was in some kind of daze. I noticed that even before she attacked me, something was wrong with her. She didn't give a response when I tried to talk to her. It's like she didn't even recognize me. But from what Lord Asclepius said, she would have been acting more erratically if she was affected by Mage Blight. It's possible that you fought someone disguised as her, maybe. I guess that's possible. I sparred with her before, and this was definitely different. But whoever they were... You sparred with her before? But whoever they were, their magic was still extremely powerful. I guess she is a Stillwind, so she would know, like, combat magic. Sure. And several members of the 4 Pillar families were assembled here. It could have been one of them. We should speak with Commander White when we get the chance. The Grand Cathedral was closed to the public for whatever was happening here. We'll probably have a list of everyone who was present when the murders happened. That meant that whoever did this was one of the nobles who was here today. Beatrice can cast invisibility, so I thought she'd let you see her. But did you see her at any point when you were fighting Stillwind? Celeste. Sorry, I don't know. I was too focused on staying alive. I've actually been meaning to ask you about that. Aren't you really strong? I've never even seen you break a sword in a fight before. Well, she was really tough. It was terrifying, honestly. I sparred with her before, but never with magic. I've never fought someone with spells that powerful before. She didn't hurt you, did she? Just check against her compendium to see if she really knew all the spells that you saw her cast. If they don't match, then it was a different person. No, but it got pretty close. I think she realized that she couldn't beat me, so she just ran past me and into the prayer room. So her real target was Pierce, but why? Did you see the moment she murdered Pierce? No, when I arrived at the prayer room, I saw you and Stillwind unconscious on the ground. How did we see Beatrice then if you didn't see her? Pierce was already dead, and I'm assuming you didn't see Beatrice anywhere? No, she wasn't there when I arrived. How did she leave the prayer room without us noticing? Yeah. Or how did she enter, even? Did she turn herself invisible? Celeste McCoy heard a suspicious sound and investigated the hallway leading to the prayer room. There she saw Arya Stillwind fighting the guards. Arya didn't respond to Celeste's question and attacked her as well. The two fought to a standstill and Arya pushed past her. When Celeste arrived at the prayer room, she found Tyrion and Arya unconscious. And Pierce was already dead. When you arrived in the prayer room, Arya was unconscious? Huh. How long did it take? How long did it take between Arya entering the room and you entering? Because in my mind it would be like a couple seconds. But you're saying that between Arya entering the room and you entering the room, she got knocked out? How? Wait, did you do something else? Or did she really get knocked out in like the few seconds that it took you to enter the room? She didn't see Beatrice Frog at any point during the altercation. Okay. Interesting. Timeline. We showed up at the prayer room for the meeting at 1:50 p.m. Then we interrogated Pierce for about half an hour. That's when we heard that commotion outside and we went to investigate it. Right. And I think Beatrice knocked me and Pierce out 10 minutes after that. How long did you fight Dylan before she pushed past you? We definitely fought for a while. It must have been at least 20 minutes. Okay. After that, she gave her one friend of me and ran to the prayer room, which means that Beatrice somehow got into the room during her fight. But this counts my theory of her disguising herself as Dylan. I regained consciousness at 3:12 p.m. That meant that I was knocked out for more than 40 minutes. There's still a lot of unknowns about what happened. I need all the pieces if I wanted to set the board. Anyways, it looked like I'd found everything I could here. It was time to move somewhere else. I need to visit the other crime scenes. Oh, what the fuck? Well, Jesus. It was the entire thing burned? We traced our footsteps and found the common room. This was the last place I'd seen while in Sanctus and Sybil before everything happened. I looked around. The once pure white room was completely scorched. I could still smell the scent of burnt clothed flesh in the air. What happened here? Was there some kind of fire? Yeah, we think the perp lit a fire using magic. Isn't this stone? How would this catch fire? As we entered the room, Commander White waved us over. He was accompanied by his usual legion of knights. Commander White. Hey kid. You investigating what happened too? We just want to figure out what really happened. You and me both. Nothing about this makes any damn sense. I could honestly really use your help in trying to figure this out. I wasn't sure who I could trust at this point, but like always, the commander was leading the investigation. Even now, the sunlight is shining through the stained glass windows. It looks like the fire reached them before it was put out. I'm not... Why is there like a giant square in the middle that is not affected by the fire? There were scorch marks all over the room. The fire must have spread pretty far. Yeah, it was probably going for a while. No one even noticed it until Prince Elaric told the Kingsguard that he saw smoke. You? You saw smoke? How did you even alert the Kingsguard? It wasn't like... Weren't like a bunch of people trapped in the force field? I remember you were trapped in the force field, right? Where were you? What were you doing? Interesting. We should speak with him and see if he saw anything else. I can't investigate the body? I want to investigate this square in the middle of the room that wasn't burned. But I guess I can't. Okay. Oh, there we go. The traces of evocation in a bunch of different spots around the room. We think some oil from the lanterns got knocked over during the massacre. The perp must have lit it on fire with some evocation spell, but we don't know if they did it on purpose or accidentally. Okay. And the Kingsguard used a bunch of water-based evocation spells to put it out before the fire spread. That makes sense. With that knowledge in mind, there's something out of the ordinary here. I mean, there is. This, I presume. There's a trace of abjuration magic in the center of the room. Okay, so that's why it wasn't hit by the fire, I guess. The traces overlap with the body? Kind of. It's sort of square-shaped. Square-shaped? I can see the traces, but there also seems to be a square-shaped outline around the body. You're right, they overlap perfecly. The area inside the square is a lot less burned now that I look at it. I'm not sure what this means yet, but it's definitely worth taking note of. Was this the spell that Lloyd cast to protect himself? Is that everything? Yeah. Here's my badge, order. Kid, why? It's my... I know, it's your attorney's runestone. It proves you're a certified attorney. I caught the last 100 times you waved this in my face. My bad. The murders. Oh, this whole situation is a damn mess. Has the Inquisition found any clues to explain what happened? We haven't exactly had a lot of time. We've only just received the autopsy reports. That's still pretty useful. Do you have copies of them? Sure, knock yourselves out. Garrick Pierce, that at 2:45 p.m. In the prayer room, cause of death was blood loss. A shard of frozen liquid was found stabbed through his heart. Oh, that's ironic, because that's how he killed Celeste's dad. And that's also how he was killed. Very ironic. It is very likely that this was the murder weapon. The wound also shows a heavy traces of transmutation magic. A trace of conjuration magic were found throughout the room. Well, when you say a shard of frozen liquid, what was the liquid? Was it just water, or...? Died at 2:18 p.m. Cause of death was suffocation. Suffocation. Her body was found floating in a nearby lake outside of the Granite Cathedral. Really? Wasn't there a force field around the entire cathedral, though, that you couldn't leave? Or was it only that you couldn't enter? Traces of transmutation, evocation, and necromancy magic were found in the body. Okay. Died at 2:05 p.m. He died before Sybil. The cause of death was suffocation. The fire in the common room burnt the body too much to discern any specific wounds he might have suffered. However, a small trace of evocation magic and burn mark were found on the victim's left shoulder. Left shoulder, okay. This implies the body was hit with a fire-based evocation spell. Traces of abjuration magic were found on and around the body. Okay, that's a lot. I'm trying to get a timeline going in my head. We don't have it in the evidence here, but how long was it after Celeste left the room that he died? 2:45 p.m. Wasn't it like... Doesn't that mean he died like a couple minutes after we fell asleep? Because we fell asleep around 2:40, right? Wait, Pierce was killed with a frozen blade. Isn't that similar to how he killed Fernando McCoy? That's what I said. Sorry, I didn't mean to... No, it's okay. I could imagine a scenario where a struggle happened and the killer used whatever was nearby. However, it still felt like a convoluted series of events. Well, he was asleep, right? When he was killed? Trace of transmutation. Why would the murderer do this when they clearly had more lethal spells at their disposal? Pierce used this method during Kleinhardt's murder to leave as little evidence as possible. However, it's clear that the murderer wanted to frame Arya and leave as much evidence as possible. Did he kill himself? Maybe. Anyways, the time of death also tells a story. Purely based on the times of death, the murderer must have killed Von Sanctus, then Sybil, then Pierce, in that order. Yeah, that's a working theory too. If we look at this map, we can see where the prayer room and the common room are. Lady Sybil's body was found in the lake west of here. Okay, so the lake was west. Okay. I don't know how it ended up there. Did they get thrown over the balcony or something? The Grand Cathedral was built on a cliff. There would only be one way for it to reach the lake in such a short amount of time. How did Sybil's body end up in the lake? Like what if the murderer threw Sybil from the balcony? Yeah. The Grand Cathedral was built on a cliff over the lake, and the westward balcony just happens to be right over it. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. We even have a witness who saw Stillwind there. Really, who was it? It was High Speaker Tion Arceus. High Speaker. He's the shawcaller of the Church of Bahamut, and he stands at the top of the religious hierarchy from what I hear. He spotted Stillwind near the west balcony and noticed that she was acting suspiciously. He called out to her, but she ignored him. So she knew that he saw her, but she didn't attack him? Yeah, this whole Mage Blight story doesn't really add up. Either way, we'll just have to talk to him directly to find more. Putting that aside, there's something else that's strange. What's that? It's about the order that the murders occurred in. What's strange about the order of the murders? From the times of death, the murderer must have killed Von Sanctus, Sybil, and Pierce in that order. This means that the murderer went to the common room, then the west balcony, and then finally the prayer room. But if we look at the map, the murderer's route seems a bit strange. I mean, maybe the murderer could have killed Pierce second, because he would have passed by this room he would have passed by the prayer room to go to the balcony, right? The murderer must have passed right by the prayer room before they dumped Sybil's body. Yeah. I mean, they could have went down also. We assumed they went up because it's shorter, but they could have went like down and then left and then here. Why wouldn't they just murder Pierce on the way there? Maybe they wanted to dump Sybil's body first. Or they were afraid of fighting me. Yeah, because you were still in the room at that point. Aren't you giving yourself a little too much credit? No, she has a point. Out of everyone who fought the murderer, Celeste was the only one who didn't die or fall comatose. Anyways, there has to be a reason why the murderer deliberately chose that route. Each time that the murderer went from the common room to the balcony and the prayer room in that order, however, that wasn't the most direct route. There has to be an explanation for that. I created a rough outline of the murderer's actions, but the real clues would lie in how each of the individual murders occurred. First, I need to figure out how Von Sanctus was murdered. When did they discover the bodies? Who came across them? It all started when Prince Alaric ran up to us. He told us that he saw a fire breaking out in the common room. Okay, so this was the first thing that happened. Okay. He also saw Stillwind there, but when he tried to talk to her, she hit him with some kind of spell. She attacked one of the princes? She attacked the 6-year-old? Yeah, but it didn't sound like she heard him. Lord Asclepius inspected him, and he told us he wasn't injured. Okay, that's very suspicious. What was the spell? I'm glad he's okay, but wouldn't Arya have used a more violent spell if she was afflicted with Mage Blight? It's possible she was throwing spells randomly, and he just happened to get really lucky. I suppose that's possible, but was there anyone else nearby when this happened? I would have expected the Prince of Warwingard to be under constant guard. Yeah, that was kind of my mistake. Of course it is. I ordered the knights to give him some space, considering what just happened. And that would be... Sorry, kid, if you don't know, it's not my place to tell you. I have orders from the top to stay quiet about that. and we need to ask someone higher up, but it was still strange, yeah. Why are all these nobles gathered here? Marriage, right? How are you not figured this out yet? Anyways, whatever the perp hit him with, it only put him in a daze. Could barely walk or talk. He couldn't even approach us until the spell had worn off. The weirdest thing about it was that he should have been pretty close to where we were. But for some reason, we didn't find him until after the spell wore off. What? What do you mean you should have found him? That must have been traumatic. I hope he's okay. Why didn't anyone see him during this time? After he told us about what was happening, we went to put out the fires. That's when we saw a bunch of guards knocked out outside the prayer room. Did you see me? No, this all happened around 3:10 p.m. Okay, so this is way later. Right, that was probably well after someone moved into the prayer room. Celeste must have already followed her into it. What was Celeste doing then? The Dwarven guard reported that a fire had broken out in the common room. Do we know when this was? They also told them that Aristotle cast a spell on him earlier that severely debilitated his senses. When the Inquisition arrived at the scene, they spotted the unconscious guard outside the prayer room. They did not see Celeste McCoy and Aristotle, and this all happened at 3:10 p.m. It's a lot of moving parts. When you arrested Stillwind, I recall you mentioning that a bunch of guards were comatose. Did the murderer use some kind of spell to knock them out? They didn't. I'm just as lost as you are about that. Some of the victims didn't have any magical traces on them. We know that they're not under the effect of a spell, but they still haven't woken up. That's hot, to say the least. I mean, did they just get, like, hit over the head, or is there any common thread between the knights who fell comatose? That might help us deduce what happened to them. Well, we found all of them near the common room and the prayer room. All the locations where Stillwind was spotted. The common room and the prayer room. That can't be a coincidence. So it wasn't random, yet it wasn't the effect of an arcane spell. Huh. They have been unresponsive since the massacre. Commander White, you keep saying the perp instead of Stillwind, even though everyone else seems to think she was responsible for this. Do you also suspect that she's being framed? It just doesn't add up. If she did give herself mage bite, her actions wouldn't have been so deliberate. And she's definitely not the type of person to just go around murdering people. Even if she was, she's led a lot of the Inquisition's investigations recently. She's investigated plenty of homicides with us, and she knows exactly how we do things. Whoever did this got the job done, but they were sloppy about it. A bunch of witnesses saw her. She didn't even try to hide herself using magic. So either she had mage bite, which doesn't match much with her behavior, or she did this intentionally and wanted to get caught. Neither scenario makes any damn sense. Someone has to be framing her. That's the only reasonable explanation. Honestly, I'm not so sure about that either. What do you mean? You saw her when we arrested her, didn't you? She wanted us to look her up. It's like she thought she was a danger to herself and others. Right, that's the same impression I got as well. Because she's being mind-controlled. If it weren't for the witness statement, I'd be sure she gave herself mage bite. The strangest thing is that I've never seen her that scared before. Something really rattled her about what happened. Did you follow up on what I said about Beatrice? I know she was in the room when the person I fell unconscious. She has to be involved in this somehow. Well, she's already in prison, so we're already ahead on that account. But when we asked her what happened, she said that she couldn't remember anything. Okay, well, that's fucking suspicious. That's such an obvious lie. She has to be hiding something. Normally, I'd agree with you, but she's not the only one with missing memories. Stillwind also can't remember anything. What? I just have to speak with her about that later. Anyways, what about Eris and that knight who was guarding her? If she can't remember anything, why was she so frantic about being locked up and like making sure that she couldn't hurt anyone? If she doesn't remember anything, why would she even say that? Anyways, what about Eris and the knight who was guarding her? Did they say anything? Sorry, kid, but Eris Elmatter has been missing since everything went down, okay? What? I wouldn't be too worried. Witness the crime is missing and possibly hurt. Look, kid, you may be a hot-shot attorney, but I've been in this business a lot longer than you have. Sometimes when these things happen to civilians, they get spooked and run away. I've seen it a million times. Eris was the daughter of a crime lord. I thought she wasn't in any rush to speak with law enforcement. I mean, she was there in the second case, wasn't she? We don't have the resources to look for her, but I'm sure she'll turn up eventually. Yeah, maybe like at the end of the case when we put her on trial. Well, I suppose we can't do anything about that now. Anyways, what about the knight guarding Beatrice? Surely he didn't go missing as well. That's the thing, the knight who was supposed to be watching her was one of the guards who went comatose. We found him in front of the prayer room too. Why was he there? Wait, did he follow Beatrice to the prayer room? To make matters worse, the frigate chick knows how to cast invisibility. So even if she was telling the truth, very few people would have actually seen her. That was assigned to guard Beatrice kill her if Marna attempted to escape. Okay, it was 2:30 p.m. that we fell asleep. So Pierce died 15 minutes after the sleep spell. Okay. He was later found comatose in her room. Eris' mother, who was also at Beatrice when she disappeared, has been missing since the massacre. Would you happen to have a recent version of her spell companion? Sure, we already have it on record. Okay, are we going to get like 20 spells because she was like a master mage or whatever? Beatrice's spell companion contains the formulas for the following spells: Familial Bond, Sleep, Mend Wounds, Send Message, Animate Corpse, Necrotic Blight, Shatter, Invisibility, Feign Death, and Illusory Disguise. Okay, right away, Feign Death is very interesting to me. I don't know what Shatter is. All the other we know, I think. Maybe Shatter has been mentioned before, but I don't remember it. And Feign Death definitely hasn't been mentioned. I would remember that. Familial Bond, yeah, I know that. Mend Wounds, I know that. Okay, we're getting a lot of spells, okay. Send Message, yeah, we know that. I'm just reminding myself. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. I guess I can also... This might have been used. The person must be conscious, otherwise the spell will fail. That's probably very important. So you can't cast this on, you couldn't cast this on one of the comatose knights, or like, us when we're sleeping. Alternative, the target can be an object that is attuned to the caster's magic, okay. Animate Corpse, you know this one. Necrotic Blight, we know this one. Shatter. Channel the caster's magic into any physical object they're touching with their hands. If no magic is channeled, the object may shatter or break. The intensity of the spell will exponentially increase while they're concentrating. However, channeling larger quantities of magic will slowly drain your caster's stamina and possibly cause mage blight. Okay, that last sentence is probably the most important part about this. That you could use this to like mage blight yourself. Or if you mind control someone, you could force them to cast this to mage blight them, right? We know this one. Feign Death. The caster must target a creature that's already unconscious. While they concentrate on this spell, the target will appear to be dead. The target creature will stop breathing and their heart will stop beating. However, the life energies of this spell will keep them alive for the duration. What is the duration? We know if there's really this, guys. Let me look at this. Fal Norma. It doesn't say the duration. Oh, I guess just while concentrating. So as long as you concentrate, you could make someone appear to be dead forever? Okay, the thing is, Pierce like very clearly had a wound on him, right? So that can't be it. But maybe one of the other two is Feign Death, like either Sybil or Coraline. Suffocation. Both of them were suffocation. I mean, if they had an autopsy report done on them, surely it wasn't Feign Death, right? Surely an autopsy report would know that, like, oh wait, like there's no wound, there's no nothing, it's just Feign Death. But it specifically says they died of suffocation, so presumably it's not Feign Death. Point index finger at target. 1 hour. Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of information right now. Right, I forgot how many spells she used during Lord Fricka's murder. It's all a little difficult to take in, I still can't believe it. After everything he did, one Sanctus was just murdered. I was surprised to hear that from you. Didn't he basically get away with almost blowing up your hometown? The way I see it, he got what he deserved. That still doesn't sit right with me. No matter who the victims might have been, no one deserves to die like that. You're definitely a bigger man than I am. Anyways, Von Sanctus' autopsy report says that he died of suffocation. We think the murderer overpowered him and choked him with a rope or something. That hardly sounds like something someone would do during a psychotic episode. Yeah, the more info I collect, the more I think you might be onto something. Choked him with a rope? Or something? This seems very unscientific. What do you mean, a rope or something? Can't you tell? I guess because his body was burned, so that's why you can't tell. The more info I collect, the more I think you might be onto something. But either way, the fire that the perp started in this room burnt his body. It didn't completely turn it to ash, but there's not a lot left. So that fire would have burnt away any evidence of the minor wounds he had. Yeah, we're lucky we even discerned that he was hit with an evocation spell. Right, the autopsy report mentioned that too. But if a fire was started, is it possible that he died from smoke inhalation? No, the divination spell we use always identifies smoke inhalation as death by poisoning, not death by suffocation. Please tell me more about the divination spell you used to identify the cause of death, because I'm very curious if it would be possible to misidentify like a feigned dead body as like a wrong cause of death or something. I suppose that kind of makes sense. While we're at it, do you have records of each of the victims' spell compendiums? It might help us understand what each of the victims was doing during the attack. Sure, knock yourselves out. Okay, we're gonna get like a billion spells, no? Pierce spell compendium contains the formulas for the following spells: Prestidigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frostbrave, and Shape Liquid. Oh, sorry, I thought we were gonna get the spells, sorry. I'll just look at them after. Okay. Conjure Light. We know this. We know this. We know this. The duration, the caster creates a magical 10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot cube around the target within 30 feet of them. The walls of this cube are impenetrable and can't be destroyed by anything, not even by spells that can normally dispel spell effects. Furthermore, any attempts to magically teleport into or out of the cube will fail. If there's more than one target creature, or if there's more... Jesus. Sorry. If there's more than one creature in the target space, they'll be pushed away from the center of the cube. Okay, so this is what the cube was in right here around the body. Mage Blade. For the duration of the spell, the edges... Okay, we know this. Slow Fall. The caster counteracts the force of gravity affecting them, causing them to fall significantly slower when airborne for the duration. Okay, that makes me very suspicious of Sybil, because she could have used this to, like, throw herself into the river, right? And then feign death or something? Or someone could have done that to her? I don't know. Foresight. The caster invokes the ultimate form of divination magic to see brief glimpses of the near future. Okay, who knew this? Sybil, right? When the spell is active, the caster is able to sense danger seconds before it actually happens. Okay, this is insane? What do you mean, can see glimpses of the near future? I have so many questions. What do you mean? Can you change the future? If I use this and see that I'm gonna get hit by a car, can I like dodge the car now that I know it's coming? Can the glimpses into the future be wrong? There's just open like 1,000 questions, I'm sorry. Strike True. The caster increases their ability to predict the results of all of their actions for the duration. This is useful for the purpose of aiming or doing other activities that rely on dexterity and skill. Okay, this is fine. Detect Magic. The first is created at the position of the caster. Wait, magical effects are created 2 times when a spell is cast. The first is created at the position of the caster when the spell is cast. The second is created when the spell effect resolves or dissipates. The caster can identify the spell magic or any trace by color. Okay. Stone Skin. The caster creates a thick layer of stone around the body of a target within 30 feet. Okay, this is what Lloyd cast in Sybil, right? The stone layer will deflect and protect the target from any physical trauma. The stone layer can be slowly broken through continuous attacks, but as long as the caster concentrates on the spell, the stone layer will instantaneously repair itself. Teleport. Yeah, we know this. Summon. Allow the caster to summon. Okay, we know this. Okay, wow, yeah. Okay, so we know what Pierce knew. Sybil knew Slow Fall, Foresight, Strike True, Detect Magic, Stone Skin, and Min Wounds. Okay. Violence Actors knew Mage Blade, Force Gauge, Send Message, Stone Skin, Min Wounds, Familiar Bond, Teleport, and Summon. Is all of this going to be relevant? Because I don't know how complicated this case is going to get, but with all this information we have, I can see this getting insanely complicated really quickly. Which I like. I like when these games get complicated. But like, if it wanted to, it could really use all of this to be like insanely complicated. We'll see if it does. Okay, wow, that's a lot to work through. Yep, this is what happens when a bunch of mages are caught in the middle of a murder. Honestly, you've been lucky until now. Nevertheless, I'll need to look over each of these spells when they become relevant. I found everything I could relating to Von Sanctus's murder. It's time to move somewhere else. The garden, I guess. I was dreading having to face that statue again, but despite knowing better, I returned to the garden. Not the statue. It's staring into my soul. And stop looking at it. The Crown Prince was sitting at the bench nearby. Several members of the King's Guard were standing at attention around him. His brow was furrowed. He didn't even seem to notice us until one of the knights stepped in our way. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert and Miss McCoy too. What are you still doing here? We're trying to investigate what happened. I see. Are you okay? Yes, I was just thinking about how unfortunate this ordeal has been. I do hope Lady Stillman is taking this well. Right, she was his fiancée after all. We're trying to find out what exactly happened. Do you mind if we ask you some questions? I see, well, I'll do whatever I can to help. I'm an attorney, by the way. Ah, your attorney's runestone. I was wondering when I'd be able to see it again. Won't someone like you have one too? Oh, I have a runestone, but it's not an attorney's rune. Okay, we're already saying this. Stillman's trial. You said that you two were investigating the murders. Were you planning on defending Lady Stillman? She'll have me. She might be a competent prosecutor, but I have a far more experience defending clients. Unfortunately, I think the situation is more complicated than that. What do you mean? Several house leaders died today. Yeah, we can't release this information to the public, not after the news of Mindfreak's death has already spread. In the course of 2 months, we've lost not one but 3 pillarheads. Yeah, that's pretty huge. The trial has to happen soon, or else the magical traces left will disappear. From what I've heard, we will be holding a trial where it will be handled privately and internally. And I'm sorry to say that you won't be permitted to serve in such a trial. Would we be able to pull some strings for us, Aster? I'm sorry, I'd like nothing more to give you the opportunity to represent her, but I clearly have a personal attachment to this case. Okay, I mean, we're obviously going to defend her, though. Like, someone is going to do something. There's no way we don't defend her. If I try to tip the trial in her favor, it will only harm her chances. Even if I can't directly defend her, we can still investigate the crimes on her behalf. Yes, I would really appreciate that. If new evidence is found, perhaps we can exonerate Miss Stillman of the charges against her. After everything that's happened, I really need to know. Why were so many nobles gathered in one place anyways? All 4 of the pillar families were present. I understand if you don't want to tell me, but this information could be vital to figuring out what really happened. The truth is that we all gathered to mourn the death of my father, King Oliver the Wyvern Guard 9. Okay, I was completely wrong then. My bad. They weren't getting married. Okay. Okay, my bad. Shit. Wait, the king is dead? Yes, we wanted to avoid releasing this information to the public so close to the death of Mindfreak. Okay, now you have a lot of debt to deal with. My father's been ill for quite some time, so we're prepared for this. Or at least, I thought I was. I also lost my mother when I was quite young, but it's still all a little hard to take in. I'm sorry, you have my condolences. Thank you. But if King Oliver is gone, that would make you... Yes, you currently stand before King Aster the Wyvern Guard, the ruler of our kingdom. The words came out hollow. It sounded like he was mourning more than just his late father. I know there's so many nobles were gathered here. Sigh, they came under the guise of paying their respect, but I'm sure they just wanted to get close to the new king. Ironically, I think only House Frega came to genuinely give their condolences. Speaking of the Fregas, I think you need to know. I saw Beatrice before I was knocked out. I think she may have been the one who killed Pierce. Oh, she'd be there. I'm sorry, I know she was your friend, but we already know she's not above committing murder. I see. I suppose if you're saying it, it must be so, but what possible reason would she have to be involved in something like this? I'm not sure yet, but I plan to find that out. By the way, where were you during the murders? I remember you left at Stillman when Celeste and I arrived at the cathedral. Ah yes, Stillman and I left to speak with the High Speaker Arceus in his quarters. Where is that? Oh, here, okay. What was your meeting about? It was actually about our wedding. With my father's death, the Grand General demanded that we make our union official. Oh, I would congratulate you two, but considering the circumstances, I understand, and I appreciate your words nonetheless. Anyways, how long did this meeting last? I believe we spoke with him until 1:40 PM, but Von Tuskers died at 2:05 PM. That means that she began her rampage less than half an hour after the meeting. Was there anything off about her behavior? Now that you mention it, something about her demeanor changed. We were speaking of the wedding when she abruptly left. I asked her where she was going, but she ignored me. I told some about what happened when Celeste fought her. There's no way she was affected by Mage Blight. Yeah, she wouldn't get affected by Mage Blight in the middle of a meeting where she isn't doing anything. Aster the Wyvern Guard and Ares Stillman spoke with the High Speaker Tyrion Arceus about their upcoming wedding. At 1:40 PM, Stillman abruptly left the meeting and didn't answer Aster when asked where she was going. I honestly didn't think much of it at the time. I'm quite used to her giving me the cold shoulder. Right. What happened after your meeting with the High Speaker? Did you see Stillman after that? Actually, I found myself caught up in something else entirely. At 2 PM, I went to pay my respect at my father's coffin, but apparently someone had set a magical trap there. Oh, okay. What? There's a glyph of contingency. When casting a spell, the caster must choose another spell they know. The caster casts a spell, but the contingent spell doesn't come into effect. Instead, it takes effect when a certain condition specified by the caster when casting the spell is fulfilled. The contingent spell takes effect immediately when the condition is fulfilled. Okay, that seems extremely useful. What the fuck? Okay, the UI is glitching out a bit. Okay, I think it says the gesture of the contingent spell. Okay. Duration 24 hours. Okay, so this had to have been cast relatively recently. I've heard of that spell. It's like a trap you can set. You can infuse any spell into it, but it requires a contingent spell to place that trap. Which spell was it? It was a force cage targeting me. Was the murder trying to attack Aster too? I don't think so. They would have used a more lethal spell if they wanted to. From the sound of it, force cage can't be dispelled, so Aster would have been trapped inside of it for that full hour. We think that someone used this as a distraction. Because of that trap, the Kingsguard consolidated most of their attentions and forces in the nave. As a result, there were few people guarding one sector, Sybil and Pierce. Okay, so when we saw Lucio like hitting like a force shield, he was trying to get Aster out. He wasn't actually trapped in it. Okay, I guess. And there wasn't a word there. All fall comatose. They can't tell us what happened to them. Unbeknownst to them, however, there was a glyph of contingency set to trap him inside the force cage. That was at 2 p.m. The trap triggered, and Aster was trapped in that magical case for duration. This caused the Kingsguard to consolidate their forces at Aster's location. As a result, Lord Von Sanctus, Corian Sybil, and Garrick Pierce were left with far fewer guards defending them. And yet another inexplicable event was added to the list. After everything I learned, I knew for certain that someone wasn't inflicted with mage blight. Someone must be behind this. Anyways, we probably didn't win this much after he was trapped by that force cage. It was time to move somewhere else. Balcony, I guess. Okay, so this is still on the first floor. It's just that there's like the church is built next to a mountain. So even if we're on the first floor, we still have a balcony over the mountain. Sure. We arrived at the west balcony of the cathedral. Supposedly, this was where the murderer threw Sybil's body into the lake. Oh, hello there. Oh, hello, man. What's up? As I inspected the area, I caught the attention of an old man nearby. From his garb, he appeared to be someone who worked at the cathedral. You're drawn in like a different art style than the other people. It's weird. I don't believe we've met before. What are you doing here? Sorry for the intrusion. I'm Tyrion Cuthbert, and this is my bodyguard. We're investigating the murders on behalf of Prosecutor Steele and Tyrion Cuthbert. I have heard of you. He doesn't look nearly as criminal as I expected him to be. He probably hadn't heard anything good. But forgive my rudeness. I'm Tyrion Arcus, High Speaker of the Church of Bahamut. Okay, that's you. Okay. The devout leader of the Church of Bahamut. I don't think I've met anyone who reveres the Scale Lord as much as he does. So you're the one who saw Stillwin here during the murders. Do you mind if we ask you some questions? I suppose there would be no harm in that. I'm an attorney, by the way. Runestone? It's my attorney's runestone. I recall the Duke of Commerce telling me about this device. Artificery is yet another gift granted to us by the Scale Lord. They only draw power from the ley lines. It has nothing to do with Retalian. All arcane magic is derived from the ancient dragons. To say otherwise is sacrilege. My bad. We heard that you saw the prosecutor acting strangely here. Could you tell us more about what you saw? Did it look like she was afflicted with mage blight? I don't know that far, but she was certainly acting strangely. How did you come across her? Well, I was on my way to the prayer room. I always recite prayers from the draconic text around that time. She was heading to the prayer room? When I saw her, I first thought she was just enjoying the view of the lake. I was about to greet her, but when I approached her, I saw that she was pushing someone off the edge of the balcony. Okay, you say pushing someone. She's not throwing someone over the balcony. That's different from pushing someone, right? When you say pushing someone, that implies that the person she's pushing is like standing up over the edge of the balcony. It's not like throwing a dead body over the balcony. That's different, right? You must have seen her dumping Sybil's body. Did he? You're probably correct. I came to the same conclusion after they found that poor woman's body below us. But it feels wrong somehow. What is it? I only saw it for a second. Lady Sybil was wearing much brighter colors this morning. Whatever Lady Sybil threw into the lake, it looked much darker. What does that mean? I'm sorry, I can't really explain it. Much darker. Huh. Was it because it had stone skin around it? Or like stone skin was still like on the body? Maybe. Perhaps I was just seeing things. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be after all. It could have just been a trick of the light. There's a way there. He spotted Arya Stone throwing something off the west balcony. Okay, I guess he really did see Arya throwing something, even though he said he saw her push. But I guess we're just ignoring that. Okay. He wasn't able to see what she threw, but after crawling Sybil's body was found in Lake Galacron, he assumed the object must have been Sybil's body. However, he could have sworn that he saw something darker, but he's still not sure. I guess I can investigate. This balcony provides a perfect view of Lake Galacron. A lot of people probably come here when the Grand Cathedral is open to the public. Is that it? There's some sort of debris on the ground. I picked up one of the pieces and rolled it around my palm. It appears to be some kind of gravel. Gravel? Did Arya just like throw a bunch of gravel into the ocean for some reason? She just loves polluting the ocean? Maybe. Oh. The trace of transmutation on this debris. That would imply that the spell specifically targeted or created wherever this came from. I thought someone intentionally created these bits of gravel. Oh no, this gravel is from stone skin, right? Surely. Yeah, like someone hit the stone skin with something and it like tore off and created some gravel. Yeah. It must have broken up from something else. The traces of transmutation magic on them. This also happens to be where Tyrion Arceus saw Arya Stone dumping Corley Sibyl's body. Is stone skin transmutation? If so, I think that kind of seals it. Yeah, it is transmutation. So it's definitely that. It's definitely stone skin. Okay, so I've got one thing figured out at least. Wait, if you saw Arya dumping Lady Sibyl's body, he must have just murdered her. That means he must have been heading to where we were at the time. Oh, were you praying there with Lord Pierce? Not exactly. What? That's not what the guards told me. The guards? Do you mean the ones standing watch outside the prayer room? Yes, they told me that Pierce was praying with some acquaintances of his. They said the same thing to Lady Stillone as well. Wait, Stillone was there too? Yes, she appeared to be waiting for something. I didn't want to disturb them, so I went back to my quarters to pray there. When did this happen? Is this before or after you saw her throw the thing in the ocean? The High Speaker didn't see her fighting Celeste. She must have started her attack after he left. But why would she bother waiting? Anyway, we can't exactly question those guards. They're still comatose after the attack. I don't understand your movements. So, let me get this straight. So, okay. So you were here in your room, then you decided to go pray. You go up here, you see Arya throw something over the balcony, and then she goes ahead of you to the prayer room and you walk behind her. Or I guess you walk with her maybe to the prayer room, and then you both talk to the guards and they tell you that Pierce is praying with someone inside. So you return to your quarters? Did you speak with Arya? Because she was supposedly emotionless and she wasn't saying anything, right? During this whole series of events. So did she say anything to you when you walked with her to the prayer room or no? Actually, the High Speaker's quarters aren't that far away from the prayer room. Didn't you hear the fight between Stillone and my bodyguard? Ah, it must have been because of the magical wards in my room. Magical wards, are they there for security reasons? Not that exactly. I actually suffer from chronic insomnia. Even the smallest sounds will wake me up at night. Years ago, I had some mages enchant the walls so sound can travel through them. I can't hear anything from outside the room once I shut my door. That did sound awfully convenient, but I thought that he lied about something so easily verified. Soundproof room. Okay. Sure. I found everything I could here. It was time to move somewhere else. Are we going back to the... I guess we're going back to the dungeon. Oh, I guess not then. Okay, I don't know where to go. I've went everywhere? Prayer room again, maybe? No. Okay, I must have missed something somewhere. Oh no, there we go. She attacked a member of the royal family and killed several nobles. What else is there to investigate? The laws are clear about what we must do. We should execute her immediately. Elric, the situation is of far too much importance to make such rash decisions. I really, really, really hope you're not the killer. Because that would be so boring. Like, just look at you. You're so evil. I really hope you're not the killer. We need to approach this calmly and carefully. As we returned to the nave, I spotted the young prince stomping around as he argued with the nobleman I saw earlier. Now that I thought about it, he was the only person here I didn't recognize. Oh, it's you two, Your Highness. And I don't think we've been introduced. I see your style as somewhat as ever. Oh, is he Celeste's dad? Is that why he did ... and Celeste had the question mark? You stand before Sir Remus Virgile, Archduke and Royal Advisor of the Warvengard throne. Sorry, I believe he means advisor. A mysterious lord who appears to be close to the royal family. Apparently, he's a royal advisor to the King of Warvengard. I wonder why I've never heard of him before. Yeah, you're probably Celeste's real dad, huh? Archduke. I didn't even know the Kingdom of Warvengard had a title like that. Why hadn't I ever heard of him before? Why are you two still here anyways? I thought the cathedral was closed for the investigation. We're investigating what happened on behalf of Prosecutor Stillwind. I see. Anyways, I have much to attend to. I'll be taking my leave. Actually, since we have you here, we'd like to ask you some questions. Both of you. You should know your place, knave. It's a stained glass window. A small ray of sunlight is shining through it. There's an altar at the end of the room. The religious figure would probably give a sermon here. Rose upon a... Okay, we already read all of this. And no magic, okay. Here's my badge. Why are you showing this runestone to me, knave? It's my attorney's runestone. It proves that I'm a certified attorney. Huh, just like a peasant to fawn over such a mundane piece of artificery? What do you mean, mundane? Mundane, you mean? I want one. Your Grace, where were you when the murders took place? Just what are you trying to insinuate? Please, Alaric, there's no need for that. To answer your question, I was speaking with Lady Frega's familiar. Tracker? No, it was the demon who calls himself Marinat. What? He was actually the one who sent for me. According to him, he had some information that was of great import to me. Did you make a contract with him? Of course not. He gave me the information he had freely. Why? Demons are supposedly always trying to trick humans into making deals with them. Looking back, it must have been a distraction. What a fool I was. I knew he was playing with me, but I knew he was unable to lie. And the information he had was too important to ignore. If you don't mind me asking, what was the information about? He definitely won't tell you. I'm sorry, but I won't reveal what you told me, of course. It would be a danger to everyone here. But rest assured, I have nothing to do with the massacre. Your Grace, we've only just met. I can't exactly just take your word for it. I suppose that's fair, but believe me when I say that I plan to take this information to my grave. You definitely won't. We'll definitely figure it out in a trial or something. That was ominous, but he was clearly intent on keeping the conversation a secret. Anyway, several members of the Kingsguard were watching us. They can verify my alibi. How long did this conversation last? I arrived to speak with him at 1:50 p.m. I didn't leave until 3:10 p.m. Okay, so that's pretty airtight. All the murders had occurred during that time frame, right? Yeah, so pretty airtight. She was accounted for during the time frame of the murders. Why would Marinat go to the trouble of distracting him in the first place? Whoever orchestrated this also used a force cage to trap Aster. Were they trying to distract the forces in the cathedral? Were they trying to keep certain people out of the crossfire? Your Highness, we heard the prosecutor cast a spell on you when you saw the fire in the common room. Can you tell us more about what happened? I can't believe she attacked a member of the royal family. She was completely irresponsible with her magic. I understand your feelings about this, but we can't say for certain that she inflicted the mage blight on herself. We don't even know if it was actually her. I saw her with my own eyes. Plenty of other people did too. Either way, where did this happen? It was in the path outside the common room. Which one? This one or this one? The top one or the bottom one? I saw smoke coming from the building, and I saw Stone walking away from it. So this must have been after she murdered Von Sanctus. I have a feeling I already know the answer, but was she behaving erratically? No, she very deliberately cast a spell on me. Which once again implies that Mage Black wasn't behind this. Do you know which spell she cast on you? I'm not sure. Do you know what she said? I've never been affected by a spell like that before. With magical traces on him, we know it was a transmutation spell. I don't think it was Shape Liquid. Maybe she used Shape Liquid to like freeze his blood or something? Does that work? It's not this. Conjure Light? I don't think so. I'm just looking for transmutation spells. Did she make him sharp? I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not sure I don't think we have the spell she cast. I don't think any of these fit. Transmutation spells manipulate and change physical matter. It's scary to think about what that might do to a human body. Are you sure he's okay? Lord Asclepius inspected him, and he didn't appear to have any lasting injuries. We're hoping the spell's effect were only temporary. Can you describe what you felt when you were affected by it? That might help us identify what spell it was. Well, I was extremely dazed, and my ears were ringing. My vision was also partially blurred. It was as if my mind was in some sort of fog. Whenever I tried to speak, I couldn't even form words with my mouth. I could only make grunting sounds. I couldn't walk either, so I had to crawl on the floor. I'm sorry I had to go through that. That must have been traumatic. What kind of transmutation spell would do that to him? It had to be something that affected his senses. I mean, the only thing I'm thinking of is like messing with like his blood or like his brain juice or something. I don't know. I already told us that she wasn't acting radically, but was there anything off about her demeanor? I only saw her for a moment, but she was definitely different than usual. She was completely emotionless. Yeah, that's exactly what she was like when I fought her too. She was like an arcane construct. Like an arcane construct, or was she actually an arcane construct with an illusion spell cast over it? Because we've seen that before. Her movements were almost robotic. Wait, are there any arcane constructs in the cathedral grounds? No, not for lack of trying on Lloyd's part. The High Speaker and I have specifically forbidden the staff here from using them. It would have been really convenient if all this was done using a construct. Anyways, was anyone else around when someone cast a transmutation spell on you? No, she moved away quickly after she incapacitated me. And even if someone was around, I don't think I could have seen them anyways. Yeah. The thing that's really getting me is the thing about no one seeing him. I don't know what kind of transmutation spell could make it so that other people don't see you. Because transmutation is, like Celeste said, transmutation is altering physical matter. And I don't know how you can, like, alter someone's body in such a way that no one else can see them. Did she, like, shrink you? I don't know. Commander White also said that he was surprised no one saw the prince until after that spell wore off. What happened to him? That covers Elric's account of what happened, and we even got their is this an Archduke or Archduke? Archduke, I think. Statesman too. But there's still one last person we need to speak to. Arya. She and Beatrice supposedly have no memories of what happened. If it were only Beatrice saying that, I'd probably doubt it. But if Stillwin also doesn't have any memories, it becomes a lot more credible. She definitely has the missing pieces we need to put this together. We should also go talk with Beatrice as well while we're at it. We're going to the dungeon to speak with her? I am. Wonderful, I'll be accompanying you. What? As a royal advisor, I have a vested interest in the investigation. While I trust Lucia to leave no stone unturned, I hear you have quite the talent for seeing what the crown cannot. Okay, well, let's go. Hey girl, we arrived at the dungeon and found the prosecutor walking around her holding cell. Several papers with haphazardly scratched notes were scattered around it. She was pacing back and forth, head lowered in contemplation as she stared at one of them. She didn't even notice us until I knocked on the bars to her cell. Mr. Cuthbert, in your grace. Stillwin's eyes stayed on the Archduke before it turned to us. How are you doing? As best as I can, all things considered. What brings you here? We're trying to investigate everything that happened. I see. I was wondering if you could answer some of our questions. Stillwin, I know your situation is pretty grim right now, but you can trust me. I know, but at this moment, I don't even know if I can trust myself. What? I'm an attorney, by the way. What do you think about this, Miss Stillwin? I'm sorry, but she doesn't have a line for the badge? That's a first, I think. Every other character has a line for the badge. Damn, unlucky. We heard that you don't have any memories of what happened. Is that true? It is. No matter how much I try, I can't recall anything. What is the last thing you remember? I believe I was leaving my meeting with the High Speaker and His Majesty. Okay, so you did just leave the meeting without saying anything? Because Aster said somewhere, we have too many evidence, I can't find it, but Aster said somewhere that you left the meeting, like all of a sudden without saying anything. Like they were trying to talk to you and you weren't answering. But if you did that on your own, because you remember that? After the meeting, I was planning to return to the nave to speak with my father, but I suddenly felt something churning inside my stomach. I thought some fresh air might help stave off the nausea, so I went to the balcony. The one over Lake Galacron? Yes, that one. The last thing I remember was losing consciousness as I looked at the lake. And did you cast any magic before this happened? No, I didn't. Are you sure you don't remember anything after that? I don't. All I remember is waking up to the sound of someone sobbing. It was Celeste. It seems that you just regained consciousness, Mr. Cuthbert. We both gained consciousness at the same time. That's interesting. I feel like we've completely ruled out Mage Blight. So I thought that's why you can't remember anything. Are there any spells that can specifically modify or destroy people's memories? Well, it's certainly explain a lot of this. Now, arcane spells can only affect the physical world. Throughout, except for the spells that let you see the future, by the way, except for those. But throughout history, mages have attempted to develop spells that can affect the mind. There's no record of history of any of them succeeding. You can't assume that arcane spells are the only type of magic that exists. I think you've observed it already. There are magical creatures in this world that don't use arcane magic. Isn't that right, Mr. Cuthbert? I'm not sure what you're trying to imply. If I learned that Lumina had any hand in this... Your Grace, I'm not an agent of the Theocracy. And even if what you're saying is true, I wasn't the one who manipulated Stillwin's memories. But I suppose you raise a good point. If something affected Stillwin's memories, it wasn't necessarily an arcane spell. In fact, it couldn't have been an arcane spell, it was definitely something else. You're probably right. It proves that I'm responsible for the murders. What? You just said you don't have any memories of what happened. Why are you so convinced that you're responsible for this? I told the Inquisition already. I saw Beatrice before I passed out. She's clearly involved in this somehow. There's more to this than you realize, Mr. Cuthbert. For the past few months, the Inquisition and I have been investigating a string of seemingly unrelated murders. Yeah, I know. The fucking detective told me. During each of these cases, we were able to apprehend the perpetrator without issue, but there was always something off about them during questioning. The murders were always abnormally gruesome and passionate, and each of the perpetrators said the same thing. They all said they had no choice. No choice. Cases like this have been occurring throughout Warvengard, and very little connects the perpetrators to each other. Jesus. All except one thing, each of them acted as if someone had controlled them against their will. They're probably just desperate. Most murderers try to make excuses after they're caught. They could even just be in complete denial. Almost said the same thing, but these cases were far too similar for me to ignore. I wondered if they were telling the truth. Perhaps each of these murders was committed by an unknown party. I didn't have any concrete evidence, but I knew I was getting closer to something. Still, I don't mean to be rude, but this sounds completely insane. I don't even have any physical evidence if these murders are connected. She does, right? Didn't she say there was a trace left at each of the crime scene? There's one piece of evidence, but it's hardly concrete. But it does tie each of these cases together. She took out a small parchment from her pocket and showed it to me. It's a purple symbol. Several of the people we arrested had an item with the symbol on it. None of them could remember where it came from or even what it was, but all someone knew it was called the purple mark. There has to be an explanation for this. It could just be some esoteric superstition that we don't know about. Why are you being so stupid, dude? I hate when characters act stupid just for one scene when it's convenient. Like, Tyrion wouldn't be this stupid. Come on. If that's true, then ask yourself one thing. Where did I get this parchment from? You don't mean... I found it in my pocket after I was properly confined. The symbol must be a calling card of some sort. Okay, do you also feel magically compelled to call it the purple mark or whatever? Like, do you feel magically compelled to call it that? Or do you just know it's called that because you remember it from the other cases? For all I know, they could have controlled my body and forced me to draw the symbol myself. This massacre at the cathedral is related to it. I don't want to dismiss what you said, but this definitely won't hold up in court. Nor should it. If my mind has been compromised, I can't take the risk of leaving this dungeon. Otherwise, I can end up harming more people. Well, you can't exactly spend the rest of your life in this dungeon. Wait, are you serious? What about Astor? Weren't you two supposed to be married soon? He's a king now, and you can't rule Warvengard alongside him from a holding cell. You're correct, but he's always been a remarkable person. You should have no problem finding another suitress. You must think of his well-being too. Arya. No. What? Your plan is terrible, and I hate it. I'll just defend you and figure out what really happened. Mr. Cuthbert, I'm not going to risk more lives. If I were to hurt His Majesty, I would never be able to. Please don't ask that of me. Oh, can I do this? I guess I can. Someone's going to throw away everything she cared about. Even if she was the one who did all this, she's not the one who's responsible. I won't let her resign herself to a fate like this. Sure. Someone acts for the greater good of the kingdom, regardless of the amount of suffering she must endure in doing so. She cares deeply for Astor and will do anything to protect him. However, she's still a rational person and will be receptive to logical arguments. Okay. Stillwin, are you seriously just going to throw your life away? If it were necessary, I would give my life for this kingdom. If someone controlled my actions today, they can and will do this again. Or will do so again. A villain controlled my mind. And as long as that possibility exists, I can't trust myself. Flag, that's not the issue here. If someone else is responsible for what happened, then we need to find out who they are. They're still out there, maybe. But that's assuming this person can continue to do so. We don't know how this mind control works. We can't just drop this without finding out what really happened. I don't know about that one. Do you even understand what you're saying? You will lose everything if you just let this happen. Okay, it's probably this one, right? No? Really? If that's true, you're fully capable of finding that out yourself. As I've said, I have no memories of what happened. I'm sure that you'll be able to find out what happened one day. But you already have lost everything by then. I guess it's this one then. That's assuming this person can continue to do so. You said so yourself. You haven't found any evidence to prove your theory. We don't know how this mind control works. We don't even know what this magic is. We can't just drop this without finding out what really happened. I suppose you're right, but I thought there was any goal to this. The person responsible was just a sadistic killer. I mean, she's not wrong. Eris seems kind of like that, but I've been investigating these murders for months. The person behind this is a sadistic individual who wanted to cause as much suffering as possible. There's no way to connect them to this. Wait, sorry, what? Prove that the person responsible was not just a sadistic killer? I don't know. That seems very specific, like a very specific thing to prove. Hang on. This? Maybe? No, okay. The perpetrator wasn't nearly as aimless as you think, and this proves it. My apologies, Mr. Cuthbert, but I don't really see how that proves your claim. I mean, it kind of does, because like they had a specific goal in mind if they didn't just kill everyone they saw. Or maybe this is this? Just this? Okay, no. I thought maybe since like they didn't kill the knights, it just made them comatose, maybe that would work. I mean, it could be this also, honestly. This? I feel like it could be any of these. Did I just present this? It could be so many of these. I don't. I mean, I guess I'll try this. No, I've tried this. I'll try this, I guess. Okay, nope. I'll try. I'll try this. Nope. Okay. All these evidence kind of say the same thing in my mind, so I don't know why none of them are working. But also, the game doesn't work. I can't click. Nothing's happening. I'm clicking and nothing's happening. I'm stuck. I cannot do anything. If I click, nothing happens, and I can't even load a save because this is blurred out. Yep, I'm soft locked. I can't. Maybe I can. What's the other button? Skip is X. Nope, doesn't work. Okay, well, you know what, guys? I guess I'm done here for now because I'm gonna have to go to my previous save and redo the entire hour I just did to get back here. So, yeah, I guess I'm done for now because I mean I'm not gonna record myself doing that. That's annoying. Okay, well, yeah, I'm stopping here for now. I'm interested in the case so far because there's a lot of moving parts. Hopefully it's like well thought out and everything fits nicely together. We have a shit ton of spells, Jesus. I'm kind of frustrated at this specific section though, because I don't know what it wants me to present. It wants me to prove that the killer wasn't just like a sadistic killer who just wanted to kill everyone, that they had some goal in mind. But I feel like we have so many pieces of evidence that all prove that. Like, the fact that they made someone like comatose instead of killing them. The fact that, like, they had a trap set up to fucking, like, trap Elric. Like, the fact that they cast some weird transmutation spell on the prince. The fact that they tricked Pierce into, like, thinking that they sent the letter to someone else. Like, there's so many pieces of evidence that all say that. So I don't know why, like, none of them are working, but whatever. But yeah, I'm stopping here for now. Yeah. Alright, see you next time.